What's up, everybody? We are back, baby.
Yeah.
Couple weeks. It's been Dingers with the boys. Boys with a Z.
Yes.
But hopefully everybody had a great Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
I know you were in Disney.
I was in California.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a blast. Loved the weather out there.
Yep.
We went at the perfect week. So.
Yep, I was up in the mountains. It's awesome up there. And great weather and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So it was weird. We usually are together on Labor Day weekend, but it was kind of different. But
hey, I needed some time away from you. You've been kind of getting on my nerves.
You know, guys, Kyle has been in a mood all day long. He's been extremely salty.
Dude.
I won in fantasy football. First of all, we're not even playing against each other.
First week of fantasy football. I look at way more stuff than Tim does. I've probably did like 40 mock drafts. I don't even know. Tim wanted me to keep track. I lost count after day 2. But after probably the 5th mock draft I did. But I probably had the worst week I've ever had in my life.
He might not break 90 points, guys.
Dude, I might not break 80 now. I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown playing right now. He's got 2 catches.
Which is crazy.
2.4 points for me right now in a PPR.
So it's funny because Kyle does probably look at more stuff than me.
Dude, I'm a stat
However,
guy.
I probably look at way more than the next person.
Yeah.
So that just gives you kind of an idea
It's only week 1, though.
Oh.
I'll probably win out the rest of the way.
You might.
But
it was funny because I ended up winning by 0.34.
Yeah.
I ended up winning, and he was definitely rooting against me.
That's what we do, though.
I thought we were together. I thought we both wanted to go.
We are, but in terms of fantasy football, you are my number 1 rival. Always will. You get the luckiest wins in the world.
I mean, I'm not lucky.
Any of them.
There's definitely been some in years past.
Whatever.
There's been close ones, and it's definitely some funny stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's funny because when you first started doing mock drafts, this was 2 months ago.
Yeah, a month ago, probably. Well, month and a half. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it's almost been 2 months since, because usually we just do a randomizer 1 hour before. Mm-hmm. This time it was about a week before.
Yeah. And
so we knew where our picks were. I didn't tell you this, but I ended up doing quite a bit of my mock drafts in that
week. I knew you would.
In that because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do any. I always end up doing it. But then I was like, well, I know I'm the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, that even puts it even more. So I ended up doing quite a bit of mock drafts.
I've always kind of wondered if instead of mock drafts, if I just joined, if every single mock draft was an actual league, I wonder what the average ending position would be.
How you'd actually do.
But because I always draft, and no matter where I draft, I feel like I end up getting the same people. Like, yeah, there's some
there's
differences.
Certain players that you like in.
But yeah, I've been high on a few people that I mock drafted a ton. And in the 3 leagues I'm in, I have a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. I think I have Marvin Harrison Jr. in all 3 leagues.
Yeah.
I also have Stephon Diggs in all 3 leagues, which he killed it. But Marvin Harrison, he was my 2nd pick in pretty much every single one.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
man,
I think, is that a kill? Is Marvin Harrison going to be a bust? Like, I can't be worried right now. Because, if you're in my position, would you play Marvin Harrison?
Yes.
Those that don't know, Marvin Harrison had 3 targets, 1 reception for 4 yards.
Yeah.
He literally had 1 reception, 4 yards, 3 targets all day.
Yeah.
Would you still put him in your starting lineup?
Definitely. I think you have to.
How long?
I think
Say he just has a couple more
4 or 5 weeks. I think. Unless, it depends on your team, though, because if you have...
True. I'm stacked everywhere, so...
Whatever. I'm saying, if you have a clear-cut person that you can be like, all right, I'll put in, I don't know...
Whoever.
Yeah.
It's like if you have another
if you had another running back or something, you could put Stephon Diggs in there instead of Marvin Harrison, because projections are one thing, but then you actually got to perform.
Exactly. I'll probably stick with him, and I told you after I still can't be that worried. You know, it was the first game. Kyler Murray just came back. This is a new offense to him. Yeah. I still think he's going to be their number one wide receiver.
Yeah. It's also like Buffalo is not a bad defense.
True.
They were a top 5 defense last
year.
True. Mm-hmm. They got a good secondary. And the thing about Arizona is, they got Marvin Harrison, but who else do they really have? If you double team,
I'm trying to think
Marvin
of who
Harrison,
their next top wide receiver.
I know like Greg Dortch is up there.
He's not their top though, right?
He's not their top.
Dortch got a lot of looks today. They have McBride. He's a big tight end.
Yeah,
that
McBride
they use
is a top target.
James Conner even sometimes gets it out of backfield.
I can't think of the guy's name. I haven't targeted him in some fantasy football drafts.
I'm trying to think. Dotson?
No, it's not Dotson. I'm gonna have to look it up because this is gonna irritate me.
That's what I'm like. I can't think, but I think Marvin Harrison's technically number 1 on their depth chart.
Yeah,
and it doesn't even matter. Honestly, if you're one of the top 3 wide receivers, I don't really care if you're the first or the third. Me personally, if you're starting, you're going to be in there most plays. Yeah. If you're one of the top 3. Yes, like maybe that top guy might get a little bit more looks than the other, but so like take Houston for example. You got Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Who's their number 1 wide receiver?
Well, right now, because me and you had that debate earlier in the season, because you're high on Stephon Diggs, I'm not at all. And because me coming into it, I was like, I think Stephon Diggs coming into the season, wide receiver number 3. For Houston.
See, I don't think that.
Like, because in the sense of CJ Stroud, if I'm CJ Stroud, I'm thinking, hey, I got Nico Collins, I got Tank Dell, and now I got Stephon Diggs. I'm already familiar with Tank Dell and Nico Collins. I did really well with them last year. So why would I be giving Stephon Diggs more targets than them?
I don't think QBs necessarily think that way. I think they have... Like, their guys are like, hey, no matter what, if I throw it to this guy, okay, he's pretty much going to catch it. However, like, even, like, the familiarity, I think you can get that pretty quick because they're all running, like, the same routes. And, like, they might jab a little bit different and stuff. But for me, I think Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs are your, like, tandem number 1.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of, like, right at the same. Then Tank Dell. But I would not be surprised at all if this year it just keeps flipping. It just kind of depends on how that game is going and who's guarding who, if they're playing in the zone, and different stuff like that.
I will say Stephon Diggs, if he didn't have the 2 touchdowns, he wouldn't have been that great.
I mean, he had 6 receptions for
only 33 yards, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... But you got to think, I got him in the 5th round, I'm pretty sure. Which, at a 5th round, I think he's a complete steal in the 5th round.
Yeah, we were talking about him and Keenan Allen being like big drop-offs in like average draft positions.
Eckler, we talked about a little bit.
I agree. Like you said, this week it might have been Stephon Diggs. Next week it might be Tank Dell. Tank Dell was kind of a quiet receiver.
He didn't do too much today, it seemed.
It all depends on like how Houston uses them.
I think Houston's offense in general, because Mixon had a
big
game too. He had 150 some yards.
Yeah. I wanted Mixon this year, just didn't.
I have him in one of the
leagues. Didn't get him,
but I think their offense as a whole. I'm not saying it's going to be as good as the Broncos back, what was that, 2013 or something? 2014?
Yeah, the first year with Peyton.
Was it 2012? Yeah. When we broke all, like, tons of offensive records. I don't know if it's going to be, like, that good.
Yeah.
However, I think that they are going to be, like...
I think they're on the same level as San Francisco.
That's right,
it's so many weapons on offense, how do you defend? How do you prepare for this?
Yep.
But, yeah.
I think Tank Dell, out of the, like, I would say Mixon, then their 3 wide receivers, I think Tank Dell's the lowest on the, like, out of all of them. But I don't think, because he's probably going to have a less defender on him. Like, they're not going to pay attention to him as much. So, like, maybe he will get some passes and stuff. But also, Diggs is so fast that it's like, dude, Stroud could throw it out to him and stuff, you know? I mean,
Yep.
It'll be interesting. I don't know. I think they're going to have – I think Houston potentially might have the number one offense this year.
I don't think that's that hot of a take. I was saying, like, going into the season, I was trying to think of hot takes and stuff going into the year, and I thought this was more of a hot take than it is, but I thought Stephon Diggs under 1,000 receiving yards was a pretty good hot take. Looked at some sports betting lines and looked at some other things, and he's like projected at like 900. Right? So, yeah, I think it's just too many, as they say, like too many cooks. Too many cooks in the oven, or like kitchen. There's just one game it could be Diggs, the other day.
Well, and that's where like Diggs had the 2 touchdowns, and Nico Collins still had a huge game. Mixon had a huge game. I think that's going to be how it is. This guy, might score 1 or 2 touchdowns, but then the other guy has 100 yards or something, you know. And so, I don't know. What's your biggest surprise? So, the game right now, who's playing? Gosh,
it's Detroit and the Rams.
Detroit and the Rams. Okay. So that's who's playing right now. All the games on Sunday, yesterday, and Thursday, they've been played. So we only got that game going, and then Monday night's game. What do you think is like the biggest surprise this like so far? I know it's only week 1, but what do you think?
Let's see. Because game 1, you had the Chiefs in Baltimore. Chiefs looked pretty good. They looked to be already in midseason form. Baltimore looked rough. I would say I was kind of surprised with Baltimore, their play calling. I just thought their play calling, it's almost like they made it easy on the Chiefs.
Well, they didn't use Derrick Henry.
Yeah, like, I was very surprised with that.
I can't remember how many rushes he had, but it was under 10, I think. And Lamar rushed quite a bit. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, hey, he rushes and stuff, but it's like, I know Derrick Henry's a little older, but, dude, that guy can still run, man. Like, I don't know. I was very surprised that they didn't do that. But was there any, like, surprises today that you...
I'm trying to look at the scores again. I was surprised that the Bears came back on the Titans. We were watching that. Titans were up 17-0, and the Bears defense came alive, got a punt return touchdown and a pick 6.
Yep. I wasn't even surprised necessarily about, like, one team, but how many of the... not underdogs. Gosh. Well, I guess I can say it like this. How many of the underdogs were up? Yeah. Like, especially early on, like at least like to the half.
I mean, even like Denver, they were looking really great first half.
Their defense was looking
great.
You know, I mean, we got that pick. We got a sack first play of the game, pick second play, and we're at the 20-yard line. Yeah. Our very first run is a 9-yard run, so it's 2nd and 1 at the 11. Yeah. And it's like, we got to score here. Well, we don't even get a first down. It's like, man, are you kidding me?
Something that I think you'll see on ESPN a lot tomorrow is Atlanta's offense. Did not do very well. Yes, they were playing Pittsburgh, a good defense, but Kirk Cousins threw 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins would
be doing better.
Kyle Pitts was nothing. Drake London, who this is probably the year where it's like, hey, you got to show up. If you're going to be something in this league that everybody expects you to, you got to show up this year. You finally got a good quarterback, and Atlanta measled 10 points.
Yeah. Pitts, I have him in one of the leagues. That was nice to see because I've drafted Pitts the last couple of years, and it's like,
he got a touchdown today.
Who knows if that'll keep up? Bijan, I mean, it's not like
Bijan was the only bright light.
I don't think he had like that amazing of a game though. Even like it wasn't like bad, but it wasn't like
I think
that great or anything.
Yeah, I think they used him a lot. They utilized him a lot in the pass game and the run game. I think Bijan this year is going to be like CMC, where catches a lot of passes.
You're huge on Bijan. I'm not as much.
I think he's going to...
And I wonder if it's because last year I was expecting so much more out of him. Yeah. That I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not getting on the hype train, Maybe that's why. Because I was a lot bigger on him last year. I was like, oh, man, this guy. Yep. And it's not like he did, like, terrible. Yep. But I thought he was going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why I'm kind of just like a little frustrated still from last year. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't think like Arthur Smith was the coach in Atlanta. He's in Pittsburgh now. I just don't know if he knew how to use him or like utilize him as much, or like because he was a rookie, they didn't know how much to really trust him. And I mean, you had Tyler Algier there that he's still a solid backup. He's still a. I
was going to say he's still
there,
right?
But
you also, I guess, I don't know. I don't even know what I was going to say. Yeah, I had something in my head about Atlanta, but I can't remember.
I just think also like Atlanta shot themselves in the foot a lot last year. Like again, it comes back to a quarterback. Like last year, you had Desmond Ridder, I think, as your quarterback. Who Kirk Cousins, even though he struggled today, everyone would say
he struggles for next 6 weeks.
Like when do you start Penix?
Do you put Penix in, or do you stick with?
I don't know. Cousins? Atlanta was so weird and so.
I still cannot believe
drafting him, but I think like
because
still like
you could have had a top weapon.
Yeah.
For Kirk Cousins,
Odunze.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, or you could have defensive play, like whatever,
people.
But you go like quarterback. I don't know.
They went the Green Bay route.
Well, and it's not a young quarterback though. It's an old quarterback too, old rookie quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't think like you're paying Kirk Cousins so much money.
He has to do terrible.
Unless Kirk Cousins gets hurt, I don't see Penix ever starting a game, ever this whole season.
I mean, if Kirk Cousins is throwing like 3 picks a game, I could see him. I could see him. Because it's like, you got to give yourself a chance. But you have to play really bad, I think, to even have a chance. And it has to be like, not just like, oh, like, this ball got tipped or the wide receiver didn't catch it and I got picked. Like, it's got to be really bad picks, really bad just taking sacks or fumbles and different stuff like that. He has to play really bad for it to
I don't see it happening. I know, like, Kirk Cousins, this is his first game back from a Achilles injury.
Yep, and so they're
gonna get better,
and
they're gonna figure it out.
It's a completely new team. You don't know,
And like I said, Pittsburgh is a tough team. Like, I know, like people think Pittsburgh sucks, but I think Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the league.
I would have loved the Broncos to get him. I think Tomlin's great.
I think Pittsburgh always has a really good defense. Mm-hmm. They're a tough.
I mean, you got T.J. Watt, you got
especially at Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So
So bring him back to Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. All right, so they won today. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson was hurt, his calf.
Yep.
Who's your starter? You won. It wasn't pretty.
I don't know. I still think you go with Russell Wilson just because Justin Fields didn't wow you tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that pretty on offense.
He didn't do bad, but he didn't do great.
Yeah.
I'll pull up his stat line.
George Pickens had a great game, pretty good game. It seemed because we were watching Red Zone in that first one, first games and everything, and it seemed like every single time they went to Pittsburgh, it was either T.J. Watt on defense or it was George Pickens on offense. Yep. And it was like, I don't know. It's maybe that was like his go-to
It might
guy.
just depend on – so Justin Fields had 17 for 23, 156 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So took 2 sacks on him.
It's not like a terrible day, but it's not also, I mean, at least you took care of the ball, but it's also not like 150 yards. Like, what did Bo Nix do?
Bo Nix. Let me see.
Because I don't think Bo Nix played great, but
Bo Nix was 26 for 42,
42?
Yeah.
Holy cow. I didn't realize he threw it that much times.
26 for 42, 138 yards. Took 2 sacks.
2 picks.
And 2 picks. Which were awful picks, by the way. He should have been picked probably 2 more times. Just luckily defense dropped it. But
I don't know.
This is what, like, going into the Broncos, like, this is what I was afraid of. It seems like exactly like last year where your run game sucks, So then you got to do play action, and the defense just knows it's coming, so they can just defend everywhere, and the quarterback has to force stuff, or you get a little check down for 2 yards.
Well, and that's like, it's so bad because, all right, your run game's not great, but what makes your run game good? Well, throwing game. Well, what also makes your throwing game good? Your run game. So it's like,
but
you kind of need, honestly, you need a little bit of both. Yeah. Because if you are just a dominant running, they know you're going to run it pretty much every single time. You're going to play that. Same thing on the passing kind of thing. So it's like, you want a good balance, and obviously you can still be dominant in one.
Yeah.
But you also want it to be like a little bit balanced, you know? And
I do kind of think that Denver kind of gave up on the run game, I think, really early. They rushed it 25 times.
Did Estime ever get a rush?
He had 2 rushes for 14 yards. So I think he's going to start getting a lot more carries.
I hope so.
And I think Javonte Williams and McLaughlin is going to go just more primarily in
McLaughlin had that one fumble, too. That was rough. Yeah,
that was tough.
I mean, it was a great defensive play, too. He popped it out. But it was just like, man, every time you turn over the ball, it's just like,
yeah.
Even if, I think that was on 3rd down, we weren't going to get the first down anyways.
Yeah.
However, all right, you're not giving them amazing field position. You're going to punt the ball. And so
I was like, as a Denver fan, like I was impressed by the defense. I think relatively
2 safeties in the first half.
They did play well. They almost got 3. Yeah. They were
How many times does it ever happen 2 safeties in a game, let alone in the first half?
Yeah.
And then you still lose, man.
Yep.
Like,
and that's why it's just like frustrating. You're getting so many good stops, and then it's almost just like, oh well, we weren't ready on offense. Here's the ball back. Defense back out there.
Say you don't know the team. And I tell you, in the first half, you have an interception that puts you at the 20-yard line. So in the red zone, and you have 2 safeties.
Yeah.
You think you are destroying that team.
Oh, yeah.
And we were up 10-9.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah. The fact that you couldn't put a touchdown on any of those.
It's just.
That's.
Because with the safeties, too, it gets you. It's like. It's almost another. I mean, yeah, it's 2 points, but then it's another another possession and stuff, and it's just like, man, you think that, and then our last drive, Bo Nix looked like a different QB.
Yeah,
he got probably most of his yards actually, quite a bit of them.
Drive,
at least 50, I would say.
Yeah,
and he looked great. He was getting it out quick. He was getting it right to his receivers, and our receivers did drop a few that were right in their hands, too, that would have extended a series as well. Because there was some that was like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, where it went right, like there was one that right through Cortland Sutton's hands. And it's like, dude, you got to make that. Because, all right, now you get a new set of downs, first down, and you kind of get rolling. Well, if you miss that, then the QB, it doesn't get into a rhythm. But say you make that. All right, hey, you have another couple throws possibly or another run. Hey, that gets you in rhythm a little bit more. Well, then you get another first down and you just keep going kind of thing. And so it didn't look, other than that last one, we really got into rhythm. And I really wish, so we stopped them. It was 3rd and 11 with 1:50 left or something. We ended up stopping them. However, there was a penalty. So it goes down to 3rd and 6.
Awful penalty.
And, But anyways, goes to 3rd and 6, and Tyler Lockett makes an amazing catch. It was pretty good defense. Amazing catch, does it. But I was like, man, I kind of want to see what Lockett does.
Or you mean Bo Nix?
Bo Nix.
It would have been great.
Just to see, even if we lose, we're down 6, and all right, you have, at that time, you'll probably have 1:30, 1:40. Yeah. Probably closer to 1:40. No timeouts, 1:40. Drive down, you can win the game with a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been great. But
I just wanted to see what he could have done. You know, I mean, we've talked about it on here. Both of us weren't huge fans of Bo Nix. I will root for Bo Nix till he's not a Bronco. You know? I mean,
I will too.
I'm not saying I'm going to be happy about him all the time, but it's like, I will root for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish we could have seen it just to. And you were saying like, oh, go back, call a flag or something. Like, you guys, no matter what, win the game, but just say it after or something. Like, let's just see what he would have done. I would have liked to see it.
It would have been cool. But yeah, as a Broncos fan, I feel like I was a realist coming in and I was thinking Bo Nix is going to throw 2 picks. I was saying it
You
all
said it
week
before
at work.
the game.
I think he's going to throw 2 picks. Mm-hmm. Broncos going to lose. You were calling me a hater all game.
You said it from the beginning. Like, it was like,
I was like,
all right, we get a sack. Wrong. No, it was only 6 yards instead of 7 yards.
Yeah. I'm hard on them. I'm hard on the Broncos, and I don't know.
At least it was competitive. It wasn't the most fun game to watch by any means. It almost kind of reminded me a little bit of Tebow time. But, man, those last few minutes were exciting, and you never knew what was going to happen.
I mean, you're right. We're right. That last drive was the Broncos' best drive. Mm-hmm. It was like 7 plays for 56 yards.
And it could have been Seattle was back a little bit. But at the same time, I don't know why they necessarily were, because it was a 2-possession game. There was still quite a bit of time left, and we still had, I think, 3 timeouts at that time. But I don't know. I'm just glad that it was at least competitive and it wasn't like
a blowout,
42-14 or something. That we're just like hating every minute of watching or something.
Yeah. Now looking at their next few games, they got Steelers next week, Buccaneers, Jets.
Which Steelers, the defense is going to be rough.
It will.
It will. However, I think our defense could kick Pittsburgh's butt as well. I really do, because I don't think their offense is anything.
I don't know. I think Broncos could easily go 0-4.
I mean, I think they could.
I think at that point, do you bench Bo Nix?
I don't think so. I think Bo Nix is,
Even if in those 4 games,
I think it's the same thing with like Kirk Cousins.
He has 10 picks.
I don't think so.
No?
Mm-mm. I really don't.
I don't know.
I think they're pretty much going to go with him the whole year.
I think
pretty
you
much
bench
no
him.
matter what. Because you want him
a little bit more time.
I mean, like, think of Peyton Manning. He holds the rookie interception. Maybe they want him to break that. I know Peyton does. Peyton wants somebody to break it.
I think the Broncos are putting a whole lot of faith in Bo Nix. And
for sure. But you pick a QB at 12, you're pretty much going to ride him, especially if he's your starter from day one.
I think you give him until I think if you would have started him week 5 versus an easier Raiders team, I think it would have been better.
I don't think Seattle's that big either, though.
But in Seattle though, that's a tough place to play. Yeah. Then versus Pittsburgh, tough defense. Yeah. Then versus the Jets, another tough defense. Yeah. I think next week it could be literally like a 14-10 game though. It could. The offenses will probably be. That's what I'm saying. I think our defense could kick butt as well. You know. So, I don't know. I'm hoping, but I don't think they bench him. I don't see it happening. And I've said this, drafting him at 12. You were thinking that they weren't going to start him like game 1. I was like, I think you have to. I see why they started him because I do hey, we drafted him at 12. We got to play him. It would be different. But I just think. If we had this balling quarterback that's the backup, it'd be different. But if we had a good backup, you wouldn't have drafted. I know, but I'm saying even somebody where it's like, hey, all right, there's a chance he could still get it. Stidham's not he's not going to be your franchise QB. I don't think he would have done as bad as Bo Nix today, and you might have won with the field position that your defense got you with Stidham. You would have converted more field goals. I think you would have won. I mean, it wasn't the field goals. I guess it was the one pick. The Stidham, one pick that was down there. Yeah. But Stidham, I think he could have turned some 3-and-outs into... Yeah, but like I said earlier, that's some of the wide receivers. Because I can, I'm thinking right now, just off the top of my head, there was 3 third downs that our wide receiver, that Bo Nix put it right on their hands, and they just dropped it. Yeah. Well, and that extends your drive right there. There's 3 right there that I remember. But I don't know. My thing is okay, you start 0-4.
really, what is the likelihood you're going to come back and even go, I don't know, 8-5 or whatever, or 9-5 or whatever, however the 9-4. Probably not great. Especially, it's not like you're huge on Stidham either.
No.
And so it's like, hey, you want to give him as much and for me, I know you drafted him 12 and stuff, but for me, I'm like, you want to know if this guy's your guy.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do this where you play him 4 or 5 games.
That is true.
And then next year, okay, hey, he was a backup. He got to see. Next year, you're in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
It's like you want to know, hey, do I like what this guy's doing? Or am I like,
how much do you really need to see, though, to know that? Because Stidham is not an old guy. He's a pretty young quarterback. Zach Wilson is a pretty young quarterback.
Zach Wilson's very young.
You don't want to see that at all? Be like, all right, well, Bo Nix
I think the difference is both of them have already been in the league, so you've seen some. Yeah. And I just don't think they're huge on him.
Stidham's only played 1 career start, or whatever, I think.
No, he's played a few more. I'm pretty.
I
don't know for sure,
but
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. We can keep talking Broncos all the time. And I'm sure the next 17, 18 weeks we'll talk about Broncos a lot more. I do want to touch base really quick. Notre Dame broke my heart this week.
Dude, we jinxed them.
Oh, my gosh.
I think we jinxed them.
Dude, they had such a great week against Texas A&M, moved up to number 5 in the country, and then Northern Illinois. What? Came in, lost 16-14. And it's funny because we went down to the Ball Arena yesterday, and they had a big sale, and I was wearing my Notre Dame stuff, and usually I tape the games, and I kind of forgot. I was like, it's not a big deal. Like, it shouldn't be, honestly, a great
28.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm like, it really shouldn't be that great of a game or anything. And so I was like, we'll catch at least the second half. Well, somebody, I can't remember who, Megan or Steve or something, was like, they're down 13-7 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And it's like halftime. I was like, okay, we get home. Yeah. Holy cow. They are down.
Riley Leonard threw 2 picks, right?
Yeah, man.
He struggled. Their defense seemed like they did pretty well, but
it's just
keeping them to 14.
The nice thing is that the playoff moved to 12 teams.
Yeah, and you think like you win out and you still are going to be up there.
You should. Yeah. Honestly,
and they have an easy schedule.
Yeah, I mean it's so tough because I would say it's easier than they have in the past. However, as of right now, before tomorrow's, I think they have 3 ranked opponents still in the top 25, and you already played Texas A&M, who was ranked, and so it's like you still have some of these top teams. However, Notre Dame should honestly be a top 5 team.
Yeah.
Well, not the way that they looked last week, like on Saturday and stuff.
It almost looked like they overlooked Illinois.
They probably did.
And just like, we can kind of take it easy.
And they got so high last week going into College Station, winning, and then they're just like, all right, we can take it easy kind of thing.
Yeah, we can take the week off.
And so maybe this is what they needed. Yeah. Maybe it takes the pressure off a little bit of going undefeated and everything. And
maybe.
I don't know. But if you win out, you should be a top 12 team.
I don't know. The one thing about Notre Dame is even if they did go undefeated, because they're not in a conference, the best seed they could be is a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was like, even if we go undefeated, we'll just be like Florida State last year, where they're not going to put us in the top 4.
I mean, you pretty much now, you have to be, I think they have to win out. I mean, you could maybe lose a close one.
It depends on everybody else.
That's where, like, say Florida State turns it around or USC ends up being one of those top,
Yeah.
It's like if you lose a close one to one of them, you could maybe get in as one of those last couple. But
it's like 11 or 12.
Yeah, but I'm like, I don't know.
But you're putting your faith and putting your faith in other teams.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping, I just hope they win out. And even then, you never know. It all depends on some other teams.
Yeah.
But
let's get into our game picks.
Yeah, hey, we're bringing game picks back. Finally, it's been a while. We had a guest.
It just hasn't
Olympics,
worked out,
so it's been a while.
But yeah, we're bringing it back this week.
Yep.
Got 2 college football games, and then we'll do the NFL game on Thursday.
Yep. First game Thursday. We'll do the Thursday game first. So it's the Miami Dolphins hosting Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
You want to do it first? You want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So both teams are 1-0. Miami, they have some secondary issues. So they're not fully healthy. Jalen Ramsey is a little banged up, but Buffalo looked pretty bad versus Arizona today. So I'm gonna go Miami. I think they take it. Another week of their secondary getting a little bit more healthy. And yeah, I just did not like Buffalo at all today.
No.
I'm not high on them at all this season, so I'm going Miami.
Yep. Kyler Murray had a great game against Buffalo today,
Yeah.
and so I think that helped a little bit. Josh Allen didn't seem like he really turned it on until they were down.
Yeah.
And then, like, all right, hey, this is the Josh Allen you want. And so, but he did bang up his hand, it sounded like. I don't know exactly what happened, but it banged up his hand. But being in Miami, I think Miami's the better team anyways, probably right now.
I think Buffalo will struggle against Tua, the dual quarterback.
Yep, I think so.
Run threat.
I think Miami's offense is better than Buffalo's offense as well this year, especially since they got rid of stuff on Diggs. So I'm going to go Miami too. So we'll go the same on that one. Friday night, we got K-State versus Arizona.
Yep.
It's at K-State. They're both 2-0.
Yeah.
They will both probably move up in the rankings a couple, but it'll be 2 top 25 teams. I'll go first. I guess EMA, I mean, as much as Steve drives me crazy, Steven, but in K-State, I think K-State's going to get it done. I know they had a hard time against Tulane this last week, but they always, like, talking to Steve, they always kind of struggle against Tulane. There's just sometimes there's teams, but I think I'm going to go K-State.
I'm going EMA as well, K-State. I think they're going to be high off the win versus Tulane. Yeah, they always kind of struggle versus Tulane, so winning, I think, is a huge confidence boost. I'm going K-State at home by at least. EMA! And then final game, we got 2 hometown. We got Colorado Buffaloes going to
Colorado State.
Yep, Colorado State.
Rams, yeah.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I'm going Buffs. Buffs all the way.
I thought you were going to pick Rams, man.
I'm more of a Buffs fan. I think Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, I think they're going to be pissed off after losing and looking so bad versus Nebraska. I think Buffs are winning by 14 plus.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people are like, no, CSU is going to come, trample CU. And
I think it's the opposite.
I don't know about 14 plus. However, I think
probably 21 plus.
Exactly. At least,
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. I think it's going to kind of make them mad. I think Shedeur didn't have a great game against Nebraska. Travis Hunter was kind of hit or miss. I mean, honestly, the whole Buffs, like, you think they're going to play a little bit better. They need to get that offensive line figured out a little bit more. Yeah. But I think they kind of got embarrassed by Nebraska, I feel like,
I think so.
I know they were the underdogs, but it was not a
Nobody expected them to lose by 18 or
yeah. I don't even know what the final for sure was. We went on a walk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We just tried to.
It was frustrating. But I'm going to go Buffs too, man. I thought you would maybe go Rams, so I was like, all right, that's where we'll switch.
I was thinking you were going to go Buffalo actually, but
with Josh. I don't know. So
first,
I'm going to go Buffs.
First week back of doing picks, we all picked the same. So
ease into it.
Yeah, we'll probably go 3-0. Hopefully,
Hopefully, both of us go 3-0. But thank you guys for listening. Sorry it's been a few weeks, but we're back now. We should have it.
Yeah.
We're going to Oklahoma in a couple of weeks for the Oklahoma-Tennessee.
Pumped about that.
Don't know if we'll do one that week. Maybe on that Sunday when we get back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely talk about it there.
But
we could do it in the car on the way home. Got a 10.5-hour drive. But no, hopefully you guys enjoyed it this week. We just talked to somebody tonight about doing a guest appearance at some point, so we'll figure that out. I know we just had Braden, but we'll figure that out and at some point, figure out our schedules and everything. And when we have a week, we don't want to talk about Broncos.
Only thing I want to add is we want your guys' opinion with football season. We've talked a little bit about like some different ideas, but maybe if you guys want us to do more fantasy stuff or more like player stats and stuff like that. So
or more college, more NFL,
more NFL. But we know like NFL and football is huge, and we definitely want to talk a lot about that. So
Nuggets are coming soon.
Yeah, so we don't want to talk about something that you guys don't want to hear. So
definitely let us know.
We love feedback. So
just good or bad, we love it all. Yeah. So, but that's all we got this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We will see you later, alligators.
Peace.